Bro, like, fuck, I was up late last night and I was reading some of the posts about myself, obviously, and some people are fucking pissed. Oh, like I feel like I made people more mad today than I have in probably like a month, which is that's a lot. Probably even 6 months, maybe. Nah. 3 months, maybe 3 months. I told Kaisi, I told her today, I was like, if I have one more situation, I'm going to begin a villain arc. I am one controversy away from a villain arc. The artist comment? Yeah. Like, I didn't even think that was a big deal, right? I mean, I didn't. I thought everybody knew that. I did. I thought everybody knew that what I was saying was true. Apparently not. Right? Like, because, so anyway, so there's a tweet of a tweet of tweet. Yeah, I gotta go back, right? And so this dude goes and posts a tweet about me. He says actual brain dead. And so let me go back, look at this. So unbox people. So this dude is not happy. Let me see if I can find where he went and they said this. And so for some record, Power World versus Pokemon discussion. But I know something is wrong. Play whatever you want to play, but don't disrespect the artist. Say stupid shit like they did. So anyway, this dude is obviously he tweeted that he called me the N-word and he said I was stupid, but I guess he must have deleted that one. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so this is a big situation today, right? A big situation with a lot of people mad. Like, we're talking about 19.7 million views on this fucking tweet. Like, we're talking about 5 million views on this one. Like, almost 20 million people in the last 24 hours, less than that, have seen this fucking post. This shit has blown up. A lot of people are watching it. And there's a lot of people that have messaged me that are like, oh, I'm so sorry you're, so many people are angry at you. What the fuck? What? Guys, of course nobody likes for people to tell them that they're wrong. But this doesn't fucking matter. It's a fucking tweet. Who cares? Chill out. Everything's fucking fine. Yeah, I got food. I went to Shake Shack. It was really nice. Spent some time with my dad. Like, this is not like, guys, I don't need to be protected. I don't need to, everything's fine. Okay. I'm good. So we're going to watch this first. And also, like, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I said this on a public platform. Now, this dipshit did cut it a little bit out of context, but that's what people do. That's what happens. Fuck. I mean, that's the way it is. And so, anyway, people are going to talk about it. Like, I wouldn't have said it. I didn't want people to hear it. So let's go ahead. We're going to watch the clip. We're going to watch the clip. Cut things out of context. It's not that much out of context. It's a little bit... It makes it sound more aggro than it was. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's a bit different. Damn the quality. Yeah. This is a 2016 webcam quality. All right, here we go. All right, so... to expect me to draw a moral line, I have to perceive a difference that I consider substantial. And I do not consider the difference substantial. I was talking about the difference between procedural generation and AI generation, like generative AI. I feel like they both functionally do the same thing, and I don't see there being a large moral difference between the two things. That's what I was talking about. And I also talked about it in the context of people copying. So, like, for example, like, you saw, like, the parallels between, like, the Pokemon and the Dragon Quest and, Pokemon and Digimon. Like, I don't view there to be, like, a large moral difference between an artist using other art as inspiration or to basically create something that's another version of what the original artist made. I don't view that as a tremendously morally different thing versus generative AI creating an aggregate of art by using a million pictures. I don't feel like these are that different. And I haven't read an argument that makes me believe that I'm wrong. I'm open to reading one, but I haven't found it yet.
Original art versus inspirational art. I don't care about that because I don't believe original art generally exists. I think that almost all art is built off of other art. And that doesn't take away from it. It builds on it. It makes it more special. It makes it better. Maybe not better, but sometimes it adds texture to it. All art is derivative. Yes, and I don't think that that's not a bad thing. Anyway, so that's what I was talking about in the clip. We'll keep going. Do you guys? No. Right. No. And that's really what matters. I don't think a lot of people do. And the truth is that I don't think that society at large sees a large difference. The reason why I don't think that people see a large difference is that I've never seen a large-scale consumer shift to where consumers are purchasing something that is more inconvenient or more expensive because of the way that it's produced. Now, some people do this. I'm not arguing that nobody does this. But the biggest companies in the world are oftentimes the most immoral ones. And I think that there's a reason for that. It's because people don't really care where their products come from. Like, nobody really cares about Amazon workers pissing in bottles. You care about it, but would you want to pay twice as much for Amazon Prime to fix it? No, probably not. And the same thing's true with phone batteries. The same thing is true with electronic car batteries. The same thing is true with clothes. And everybody just forgoes morality to participate in these things. And I do not believe this is a you criticize society, but yet you exist in society. How interesting, right? That meme? I don't think that it's like that. And also, I think that that's very valid. That's an extremely valid thing to say. If you want to hold other people to a standard, you should expect other people to hold you to that standard that you are trying to hold them to. Why does everybody else have to carry your flag? And so that's my point. And so I don't think that consumers really care about this in a general sense. Are there consumers that care about this? Of course. Is there a market for them? Of course. Is it infinitesimally smaller than the market for consumers that just want to consume the cheapest, best thing? Of course. It was made with AI. I'm completely okay with that because it was fun.
The evidence
It
is
doesn't
that
matter. Nobody really cares
the
about
lead
this.
developer has been very positive about AI in the past and made an AI game
We're gonna play
called
this, by the way.
AI Art Imposter that lets
Yeah.
an AI artist draw a picture.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of the
Yeah,
games.
we're gonna be playing this this week.
Yes, just generally has been much more positive about some of the benefits of AI rather than
Yeah, basically, people accuse the CEO of the company that made Pow World of using AI to make Pow World because he liked AI. So they basically just made up an accusation and are just running with it. And I heard recently that the person who originally made the accusation has apologized.
than what is the normal sentiment amongst artists and I guess general Twitter population, which is that AI is bad and it takes jobs from people.
Well, AI and the sentiment from artists. This is the part that's going to make people mad. Opinions don't matter. It just doesn't matter because what matters is the opinion of the people that are buying the product. Yes. Like, it doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares. Like, it's not relevant. It's like whenever one of these, like, really well-respected and really respectable directors talks about how bad Marvel is. Shut up, old man. Shut up. I like watching the Thor movie. It was cool. So people really didn't like that clip. And I want to say really quickly that I stand behind what I said 100%. And I'm right. And the emotional outbursts of man-children on Twitter over the next day or two will subside, logic will prevail, reason will wiggle its way in, and people will see the truth of what I said. And the best thing about it is that I can prove it. And that's the good thing about the truth, is that I don't have to bully people off. Like, I can read arguments from people that disagree with me, and I can prove them wrong. These people can't prove me wrong. They can post a picture of my room and say my room is dirty and so I'm wrong. Sure, you can do that, but I'm still right. You can say I'm a loser. You can say I'm ugly. You can say I fell off. You can say anything that you want. But that doesn't change the truth. And that's the best thing about it, is that it doesn't matter how mad you get. It still doesn't matter. It still doesn't change anything. And so I want to talk a little bit about what I said again, and I'm going to go through it. Is that T1, Michaela? I guess it is. Let me go back. I'm going to read this real quick. The people that are buying product. That's right. It doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares. That's right. And I want to extrapolate this. So almost all art has relatively no intrinsic value. Like, if you're at a, if you are stranded on an island, would you rather have a cooler full of food, or would you rather have the Mona Lisa? And I think that that's what makes art special, is the fact that it has value, but the value is not intrinsic. Like, a hammer has value. You can use a hammer to accomplish a goal. A nail has value. You can use a nail to hold something in place. And so in general, and this isn't true all the time, okay? But I'm making a general statement that's not always true, okay? So just please hold your exceptions. Please. I know you have an exception that you want to put out there and try to pretend like you're smart. I know you have an exception. I do too. But I'm talking about in a general sense. Art does not have a functional value. A Picasso painting is not going to do anything. But it will have value to some people. And that value is subjective. And the fact that the value is subjective proves my point. And I can give you another example of people that are making art that nobody cares about. Now, you can scroll down on this tweet, and most of the people that are being very angry are people that are making art that nobody cares about. Or you can go over to Twitch, and you can go down to, let's go down to, I don't know, World of Warcraft, and let's scroll all the way down. And you're going to find people that have 1, 2, 0 viewers, and they're streaming the same as everybody else is. But nobody cares about them, and it doesn't really matter that they're streaming. There's no value to this stream. They're not going to make any money. Now, maybe they will in the future. But whenever they do in the future, the reason for that will be because people see value in them. That's because the artist is empowered by the people that consume their content. And it doesn't matter if it's a picture. It doesn't matter if it's a video, a stream, or anything. These things have value because other people say they do. Art is fundamentally subjective. I think that if you think it's art, it's art. That's where it comes from. The reason why that's true is the same essence of the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying. So whenever I say an artist's opinion doesn't matter on their art, it's because whenever an artist says this is worth $50 to me and somebody else says no, it's not, the artist can still try to charge $50 for it, but nobody has to buy it because that value is decided by the customer. That's the way it works, is whenever you go to market with a product, you have to meet the customer's demand. And it doesn't matter about what you think the world should be. It doesn't matter about how you view ethics in art. It doesn't matter about how you think trade should be. It doesn't matter about whether you're a capitalist or not. None of these things matter. The only thing fundamentally that matters is if what you are doing is perceived to have value in the eyes of the public. And not the public, in the eyes of the person you're selling it to. And the truth of that is proven every single day. It's proven every single day whenever somebody makes a video game and nobody buys it. It's proven whenever Riot shuts down Riot Forge because nobody bought the games. Do you want to know why a lot of those people got fired? It's because of you, it's because of you, and it's because of me. And the reason why is because we didn't buy and support those games because we didn't care about them. And because we didn't care about them, they didn't make any money and they got fucking fired. And that's the way the world works. Now, I understand that there's a lot of people that are angry because I'm saying this. Don't shoot the messenger. Or do. That's fine. But the reality is that I'm still not wrong. And this reality will be proven every single second of every day until the end of time. And so I don't want to sit down and this is why it doesn't bother me that a lot of people are unhappy about this, because I know the truth of what I'm saying, and everybody else will sooner or later, whether they want to or not. And I'd like to go and show some of the other the posts that people have made, respond to some of the criticism, and look at what people are saying. Not wrong is not always 100% correct. The angle you attack it from might change the truth. I have to say, too, that I thought a lot today about, is the position and the approach that I take to communicating so aggro that it ends up actually, like, hurting my goals? Like, am I being too much of an asshole? Is it basically, am I, like, because a lot of people say, you're right, but I hate you, right? Basically. And so it's like, is this an effective tool for me? Like, am I communicating in the most effective way? And I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm not sure, but I think about that. I don't think that I'm wrong in what I said, but maybe if I said it in a different way, more people would have resonated with more people. But in another way, I'm saying it, and now a lot of people are mad, and more people are addressing it. So I don't think that it's really like I'm right and, you know, they're wrong or whatever, but I think about this. Because what do I fundamentally do? I fundamentally, what I do is I communicate to people. And so I think about, you know, is my mode of communication actually becoming counterproductive? I don't think so, but I do think about this. Effective entertaining. I think that it depends on what your goals are. So yeah, tone does matter. It does matter. And so I think to myself, am I harming my goals by not approaching it in a way that's effective? Because, like, again, I don't really care about the way that I say it. I care about communicating the idea. And so if I'm communicating an idea that's very aggro and it's causing people to not agree with me or not like me because of that, am I in the wrong? Maybe not factually, but it's not about the facts at that point. And so I think about the effect of what I'm saying. And I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about. I'll be thinking about that a lot. So anyway, I do want to throw those people a little bit of a bone because, of course, I think about stuff like that. Anyway, probably depends on what your goals are. Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, there were a lot of people that obviously retweeted this. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go through. I liked a lot of the posts, and I'm going to just look at all of them here. And so I guess we'll start at the bottom. Okay. I think that should be everything. Okay, good. Hey, you, JK, I love you. Yeah, no, it's okay. As an artist, most artists practice AI. They don't directly rip, and neither did Palworld. Well, that's for Nintendo to decide, and they can figure that out in court. I personally think that Palworld probably did rip off things from Nintendo directly. I do think so, and I'm going to keep playing the game. That doesn't affect my opinion of the game, but I do think that I think that they did it. From what I've seen. Like, I don't know. It's too close, man. Like, especially like the models, like it's too close. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But like, I'm not the lawyer. I don't need to be like, 100%, fucking right about this, or this isn't a legal argument. I'm just saying, like, this is my vibe check as a person who makes YouTube videos. Okay? Like, this is a vibe check. So anyway, yeah, trick shot. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I saw that. And anyway, so we'll go ahead and we're going to look at this here. And if you're looking at this from a strictly capitalistic viewpoint, you're not wrong. Now, this is probably the most popular response to the tweet that I made. And I'm going to go ahead and read what this person said. If you're strictly from a capitalist perspective, you're not wrong. I think many, including myself, would argue that we have a good moral obligation to look after the ones making said products. If we never care about the artist, the art stops and nobody wins. And I respond back to this. I say, if many such as yourself care about the moral obligation, why is it that the biggest companies are often the most immoral? And my point is that there are oftentimes people that think that because they get 6,000 likes or 12,000 likes or 40,000 likes on Twitter, then somehow this means that this is what most people think. It's not. I think that it's great to look at sentiment, but sentiment is never better than data. And the data says that it's not true. Of games like Pow World, give me a second. I'm pulling this up. Of games like Pow World hitting 2 million concurrent players. That's right. So that's the facts. And so 1 million right now, yes, and that's the reality. Now, 6,000 people liking a tweet doesn't really matter. And if we didn't have this data, then we'd be having a debate. But we don't need to have a debate because the data proves the truth. And it will prove it over and over and over again. Just like it did with sweatshops, just like it did with lithium batteries, and just like it's doing right now with AI. And in the future, it will be something that we can't even imagine that will be doing the same thing. And so why is the biggest companies often the most moral? Because we live under capitalism, money is greater than morals. This person believes that bad systems and abuse was invented by capitalism. This is not true. So let me go ahead and give you an example. So before capitalism, we had monarchies and we had things like that. What do you think would happen if an artist painted a picture of the king who made the king look fat? Well, then they'd just be dead. And that's the way that it works. There's never been a better system for people to express themselves than Western capitalistic culture. This is the greatest mode of expression that we've ever had in the history of humanity. Does that mean that we can't do better? No, it doesn't. But I am not going to look at any other system that's been tried in the past and say that let's go back to that. Absolutely not. It's actually true. It's a caricatural view of history. Plenty of caricatures existed in the newspaper during French monarchy, even during Louis the 14th. I'm sure that there are exceptions. But do you really want to make the argument that inside of a monarchy, people have more autonomy to be able to control their own wealth? What kind of argument are you making? Do you really think that the king and the people that were running France at the time were moral? Do you think that they were good people? Do you think that they treated artists and people that were involved with them in a good way? No. These people were brutal animals, the same as everybody else was. Yeah, they wouldn't have had the revolution if that wasn't the case. You're mistaken if you think capitalism didn't exist within a monarchy. Well, at a certain point, you get to the, what do you mean by capitalism? Do you mean the ownership of private property? Do you mean a free market? What do you mean by capitalism? I think you should define your idea more clearly, and then we can talk about it. But anyway, so yeah. Basically, somebody says money over morals. This is true everywhere. Like, if you go to countries right now that aren't capitalistic, like North Korea? Do you think North Korea is prioritizing morals? No, I don't think they are. It's such an insane thing to say. I can't imagine that people believe this. Dude, how are you going to pick North Korea? Because it's the worst example. And it is the example that is the like, for example, like China is capitalistic in a lot of ways now, right? So like, can I really use China? I don't think I can. And also China exists within a global market, which is also capitalistic. So that's why I chose not to use China or a Middle Eastern country. I used North Korea for a specific reason. So yeah. And try Cuba. I don't know enough about Cuba to use that as an example, to be honest with you. So, I'll give you his response below that. I need to break it to you. Communism isn't some moralistic paradise. Simply study history. Communism is different in every country, but yeah, it isn't a moralistic paradise, but it's better than capitalism. Communism is better than capitalism. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't think so. Cuba's blocked by the U.S.? Yeah, exactly. And so that's why, like, it's very hard to say, like, what Cuba's economy is or isn't. Yeah, this is insane. Like, I think that at the point where a person makes an argument that communism is better than capitalism, like, is it okay to just disregard everything they're saying? Because I would say I think that it kind of is. Yeah, like, that's... Okay, now we'll go ahead and move on. So, yeah. And anyway, Stalin killed more than anyone. Well, the reality of it is that Stalin killed more people than anyone, not because of capitalism or communism. He did it because he's a terrible person. And terrible people and terrible actions occur outside Mao. Yeah, Mao did the same thing. He's also a terrible person. So, of course that's the case. Absolutely. But, like, I don't think that them doing that, like, countries will do that. I guarantee you countries have done that weren't communist. There have been so many genocides over the course of history that communism does not have a monopoly on genocides. Everybody's had their turn to have a little bit of genocide. Let's be real. So anyway, now on that scale, you're right. Yeah, those were two of the biggest ones. But sure. So yeah, anyway, that's what one person said. And that's the point. And again, right? And I find this to be kind of ironic because even whenever this person... We are under capitalism. So if I make an argument that under capitalism, money is greater than morals, and then this person is arguing against me, well, he says you're not wrong. I'm not wrong. Okay, well, then there we go. I'm not really in the business anymore of trying to change reality. I don't want to change the world. Well, I do in a way, but I think that in order to change the world, you have to acknowledge what it is. And I think that so many people have intellectualized reality, they're not even a part of it anymore. They've done this so much. There's so many levels of abstraction away from just the simple truths of reality that they don't even live in the same world that you do. And that's the problem. Now, I'm not talking about whether something is good or bad. What I enjoy doing is being able to see what is and then be able to predict what will happen because of that. And how things will go. I enjoy that. I like that. That's what I like to do. People living in their own little echo chambers? Oh, that's always the case, right? So, there are no genocides since 1945, though. Really? That's crazy. I didn't know that. It's not a dichotomy, and you're arguing against something nobody suggested. Give me 1 second. Is this somebody who's arguing? What is this? Wait, no, they didn't bring up communism. Well, I don't know. I think that if you're suggesting that capitalism is bad, it would imply that you're bringing up other modes of like other economic systems, right? Now, you're right that the person put words in their mouth. Yeah, the person puts words in their mouth. Yeah, they never mentioned communism. You're correct about that. Versus opposing alternative capitalism, all they're saying is pure capitalistic priorities prioritizes money over morals. Sure, yeah. And it's not the economy you're arguing against, so nobody suggested that. Yeah, sure. But what I am saying is that pure capitalism is not also a good thing either. I don't think anybody thinks that pure capitalism is good. And of course we don't think that. That's why we have socialist systems like Social Security. Nobody thinks this. A lot of people do. Well, a lot of people don't think about it in the first place, so it's not really worth taking that into consideration. So yeah, not bad chatter. No, this is not. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, but no, he's definitely right that nobody brought that up. Somebody put words in his mouth. So yeah. And somebody else said this, and artists' opinions don't matter. What matters is the opinion of people buying the product. And this is another person who was unhappy about what I said. And this is, of course, somebody who is an illustrator. They make art. And they sell commissions. People like their art. The fact that they exist proves my point. You are selling commissions because the free market allows that to happen because people see value in your work. You wouldn't be able to sell commissions if people didn't like it. That's the way it works. But isn't your argument about allowing theft of art and an example of something that should arguably be prevented using controls on capitalism? As I said before, I don't really believe using generative AI is theft. I don't really think so. Now, if you're using generative AI to recreate something, like, you know, for example, like you're trying to make the exact same thing and pass it off as if it was the original, then yeah, sure, that's theft. Of course. But I'm talking about, like, if you use a tool like, I don't know, Stable Diffusion or something like that, and that tool generates an image, I don't think that that image is theft from other images. And if you think that it is theft, then I think that there is not a tremendous moral difference between somebody using other art as inspiration, as everybody does, and somebody using an aggregate tool that puts together pixels that makes a picture. I don't view these as a tremendously morally different thing. I don't. And I have not read an argument so far that convinces me that I'm wrong. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. And also, we'll go even farther. The use of AI is not necessarily theft. Even if you believe that AI being trained by other tools is actually, by other pictures that you don't own, is theft. Because there are plenty of people, and I'll give you two different examples, Amarath and Susu, who do OnlyFans content, who have an AI bot that can generate nudes of them for people that try to talk to them. Is that theft? Well, no, because they trained the bot with their own content. So whenever you're saying AI and generative AI, you're painting with such a wide brush that you're also including things that don't necessarily fall into that category. Not every single AI tool that's ever existed has been trained with things that are not that thing. Paying for fake nudes is wild. Wrong, those models stole images. How do you know how... You don't know how the tech works? How did they steal images? How? Shouldn't go to my stream. Okay, that's a good attempt. Yeah, I appreciate the hustle. Sure. Let's see here. No internal monologue. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so AI is bringing us into the future. Oh, absolutely. Using copyrighted imagery to change their data without compensation. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that if somebody uses AI fully with images that they own the copyright to, there's never any possibility of theft. Or sorry, there's not the same issue of theft. So I think that whenever you're talking about AI, whenever you talk about it, there's like 3 different assumptions that are made. And that's the difference. It's trained on artists who did not consent to having their work being used by their algorithm and then being replaced by it. Well, can you explain to me what the difference is between that and another person who is a better artist than the original artist who is making art based off of that original artist's art? Can you explain the difference to me? Because like I don't see it. Just give me a second, type it up. Okay. It was spam, but AI had to learn to remove watermarks, and that's blatant theft. AI had to learn to remove watermarks, and that's blatant theft. And I want to also kind of like, okay, sure, yeah, sure. Nobody cares, though, right? Because if somebody found out that somebody used AI, it's not going to decrease their enjoyment about it. Just because you say something is stolen doesn't mean that everybody else in the world has to care about it. I understand what you're saying, but you still have to have other people care about it in order for it to be true. And so you've made a judgment, oh, this is stolen. Let me give you an example. I'm living on stolen land. The Native Americans had this, and then we came over here and killed them. And now it's our land. Well, we're not going to be giving that back. And at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit. It doesn't, there is no function that information will create that will not change anything. Everybody knows it's true, and nobody cares. And if you think that you do, go give your house away to a Native American family and leave the fucking country. But nobody's going to do that because you don't really care. You only care enough to present yourself as if you are sympathetic to the situation while simultaneously benefiting from its existence. That's just the way that it is. Is stealing okay if you don't sell it? It depends. So people are targeting specific artists and using their names as actual prompt phrases to create the art. AI just meshes a bunch of pieces together. It's not creating anything new. A human being can also create art from pure creative individuality, and an AI algorithm cannot exist without thousands of art that it scrapes. Yeah, you're right. I'm not sure if I understand what your point is. There are always going to be people that are trying to define what art and what art is and what art is not. Excuse me. Nobody has a monopoly on telling anybody else what art is. It doesn't matter what you believe art is, because, like, for example, I've seen a lot of modern art, and modern art looks like my room. It looks like the garbage on my table. But somebody else doesn't think that. And I'll go back to the example that I used before of Jackson Pollock. It took me a long time to understand the value or understand that other people see value in something like a Jackson Pollock painting. That's the guy that did like all the squiggly lines and just a bunch of bullshit on a page. It's subjective. So I don't think that you're in any position to say what is or is not art. Because I can guarantee you might think that, there's a lot of people that go to church that probably don't think that your background picture is art. They don't think that your profile picture is art. But I bet that you probably do. And that's just, and you're not wrong, and neither are they. Because art is subjective. And so if people say AI is art, then it is. The issue isn't defining art, it's the theft of scraping thousands of art pieces on the net without consent to then replace the artists. An artist can create without seeing other art, an AI generator cannot. Well, what about an artist that doesn't, that creates after seeing other art? Like, I think that you're kind of talking around my point. And so what I'm saying is that if an artist is able to use something as an inspiration to create their own thing, that thing that they've created is derivative of the thing that originally exists. And so on a fundamental level, you're saying that AI isn't art because it's derivative. And is this also not art because it is derivative? Do you see kind of my point here? Please explain what inspiration is and how it's comparable to an algorithm. I think it depends, right? So I actually don't think that the human brain is that much different from a computer. I really don't. Now, the human brain is infinitely more advanced than a computer, but I think that it's fundamentally the same thing in a lot of ways. So I don't believe in this, like, oh, well, because it comes from your mind that it's so much different than a computer. Most people's minds work in ways that computers work. No? Yes, they do. Computers connect information together, and that's what your mind does as well. Whenever you think about things, you synthesize information together to come to a coherent thought. That's fundamentally what AI does as well. In a very abstract sense. Do you see a point whenever it comes to defining art? Being open for discussion. The thing is, like, I'm not mad at the people that are disagreeing with me. I'm not mad at them. I'm not, like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not, like, this isn't something that I'm upset about. I'm just having a conversation about it. I don't know why other people are getting so mad, to be honest with you. But there it is. You're basing on a level of people aren't going to understand? Well, if people don't understand it, that doesn't make me wrong. You're really wrong about the brain being a computer? Okay. I'm sure we're going to get a good comment out of this guy. What about it is wrong? As a paramedic, it's not necessarily true. The way to think about it, computers are binary integrated. They have to think in do's and don'ts. Brains have multiple chemicals and nerves that react in different ways to each other. You're right that the brain isn't the exact same thing as a computer. But I said that your brain functions in a lot of same ways that the computer does. That's true. It's not the exact same thing. And I think that in 200 years, somebody will be able to make a computer that thinks like a human brain. I think that it's inevitable. To be honest with you, I can't imagine anybody thinking that it won't happen. Then I kind of agree on function, but it's not really the same. Okay. It's like 3 or 4. Try 3 or 4. We're extremely close. I'm not sure if we are or not. I don't have enough information about it. I just think that it will happen. So yeah. Is people actually stupid? Being obtuse so you don't have to say the right? No, it's okay. The brain's not linear. Computers are. The human brain is inefficient. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? But anyway, I do think that I don't perceive, I'll go back to what I said, I do not perceive a tremendous moral difference between an artist using another type of art for inspiration or copying or using it to be derivative of, like, the Dragon Quest Pokemon example, like we have 50 million examples of things that are derivative of each other. And so I don't find a tremendous difference between that ethically or morally than AI. I feel like fundamentally it's the same thing. You're using something else to create something new and saying it's yours. Like, that's fundamentally what you're doing. And so, yeah, I don't see that. Basically, AI is learning how to create shapes. It's not really stealing. Yeah, I think it's very abstract, and I don't know the nuances of that. For what purpose, though? To sell or for creation? I don't think it really matters. And so anyway, let's go back. We're going to read a few more of these, okay? Let's see here. Artist big scale because it's good against everything an artist make. Companies will use it. Of course it will. So this is the comments of somebody who's a professional graphic designer. The general public doesn't give a fuck, and honestly, the general public doesn't care what looks good or even bad. AI is scary, but it's also a tool. Artists need to figure out how to use it as part of their process. This is like saying that you won't use a paintbrush because a fine-tip marker will get you a similar result. Sure, the paintbrush is more efficient. Choose to not use it, I don't care, but you will become literal starving artists when people who adapt and use the tools excel. That's what happens. Yeah, that's reality. So somebody else responds and they say a crowbar is a tool. That's no excuse to use it to burgle houses, is it? Same goes with AI. It's a thief's tool. And when it should not be acceptable. If AI piracy is okay, then media piracy also is. Why should I pay for something that's stolen from artists? Circular reasoning. The guy responds back, a crowbar is a tool that can be used by thieves. AI is a tool that can also be used by thieves. AI can be used in many ways. Most artists who complain about AI art theft are furry artists who can't charge $15 for their commissions anymore. There, I said it. I can't believe how many furries got mad at me today. It was crazy. Nothing's original anymore? Yeah. And you're not supposed to use models. It's to stretch your closure. Bifrog is backpedaling on his statements now? Yeah, of course. It's unironically gun control arguments. The person, not the tool, or the tool or the person. Yeah, exactly. And so there's one comment. You're worth what anyone is willing to give you. Anything else is just fantasy. Hey, little girl with cancer, I just want you to know that you're worthless because you're not making any money. Good thing we have rich people to do the right thing and help her. Oh, wait, you're still in a fantasy land where those people are supposed to give their own money to make people happy. That's not life, that's fantasy. So this person is obviously totally fucking right. You know, obviously, like, nobody has a, you know, the moral authority, unless you have the government do it, to just go take somebody else's money and give it to another person. Right? That's just how it is. A wise phrase, you can be an artist without being a furry, but you can't be a furry without being... This is so good. This is so good. How is this so good? Oh my god. Oh, this is amazing. I love this. You can be an artist without being a furry, but you can't be a furry without being an artist. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. Wow. And so anyway, what's the next one here? And this is another response that a person has made. Obviously, you're correct, but your explanation wasn't great. Metaphors with physical items work better. If an AI chef... Oh yeah, I really like this example. I wanted to show it to you guys. If an AI chef existed and could make the best tasting meals instantly and for cheaper, no one would ever pick a human chef. Oh, they would sometimes because they do cool tricks and stuff like that at certain restaurants. But yeah, in a general sense, this is true. And that's what's so crazy about it. As a chef, agreed. Yeah, exactly. Performance chefs are wild. Yeah, Salt Bay. There you go. Nobody likes that guy. So that's, you know, kill two birds with one stone, right? There you go. And so anyway, that's completely different. Is this a person who is... Okay, this is another ardent disagreeer in chat. Why is it different? What makes it different? Data scientist here, the tech doesn't steal images, it just learns the natural distribution patterns that are representative of your descriptions. The way that you say it makes me think that you're right. And I bet you're probably right. But I don't have enough education in that to be able to say, oh yeah, it's so true. But I think that you're probably right on that. Cool. I can explain. Okay, here we go. Well, the anger directed to you was more out of the context of out of context telephone. People latched onto the wrong idea. Artists don't matter, which you never said. Well, an artist's opinion of their own art is not relevant in the context of going to market with it. It doesn't matter how much an artist thinks their art is worth if people don't want to buy it. It's the same with any other product. Like, it's as I said, it's astonishing to me that, like, I'm getting any pushback for this. It's just the truth, and we all know it every day. VTubers are pretty worked up too. Well, people can get mad about me all they want. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah, that's up to them. By saying you can't make a statement one way or another because you know everything is critiqued by the anti-Asmongold squad on the internet. No, I don't. I'm not saying that I'm not educated in it. I try not to parrot misinformation that I don't understand. Now, there are things that I don't understand that I don't understand. But there are also things that I do understand that I don't understand. And I do try to avoid presenting that. How do I communicate with you there? Well, what's your point, right? You're saying that it's completely different. The AI chef example is completely different. Why is it completely different? Like, why did you type that? There are known knowns and known unknowns. Yeah. And the ones you need to be scared about are the unknown unknowns. Besides, people want everything run and done by AI. That way we can have UBI. Yeah, or slavery again. We'll see what happens. Refresh. So a chef makes food. True, an AI can follow a recipe, whereas art is not exactly bound by rules and as its pure inspiration. As I said in previous statements, AI or machine learning is completely based on copy and paste logic. You're right in some things, but detail is missing, as you're saying, to be fair. Okay, so let's go ahead and address this. So an AI is following a recipe, which is created by copy and pasting what a human does. I'm not sure that these two things follow. AI and machine learning, it's completely based on copy-paste logic. Yeah, so this is the same thing, right? Like, I don't know. Chefs creating new recipes. AI creates new recipes instead. I don't know. Did you get my message? Yeah, no, I'm reading it. Yeah. It's not. Humans can make art without ever seeing anything. Yeah, but humans have seen things. So, like, we're talking about, we're talking about, like you're talking about a theoretical. Like, we've all seen things. I mean, maybe if you're Helen Keller or something like that, sure. But in a general sense, we've all seen things, and the things that we see influence what kind of art we would make. What is this? What are we talking about? Draw a picture of something you've never seen. Yeah, I can't type into Python inspiration. Do you think that one day you will? To a degree. Can I also address what you said about the theoretical? Of course, yeah. And also, I mean, I can type into Stable Diffusion snake, and it can make a snake. If the point of an AI chef is to make food cheaper, that's great. But I think the argument is that AI chefs couldn't innovate like human chefs can. An AI chef can't innovate like a human chef can. So you're getting attached to the minutia of the process of a product. What I'm telling you is that, here, I can make a chart, and maybe this will make it easier for people. The green part is the part that the customer cares about. This part the customer doesn't care about. So this entire thing is not relevant to a sale. Now, there are exceptions like farmers markets, and again, usually farmers markets, the reason why people go to farmers markets is because the end product is actually better. It's actually not just because they want to support local farms. It's also because that the product is better and it might taste better to them. So this is the problem that people on Twitter don't really seem to understand. They think that this matters. No one cares. This right here is what the, what do you call it? This is what people care about. Right here. Consumerism. Yes, exactly. Not really. No, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. There it is. To be honest, I think your selfish and self-centered worldview skews your opinions on that point. Okay, well, I'll read your comments. Let me read this one just a second. You got timed out. Sorry. So I agree with you, but I believe it's important knowing that a human knows what they're doing with what they're doing. Sorry, let me go back and read this again. So I agree with you, but I believe it's important knowing that a human know what they are doing, especially with art to any degree, art, music, you name it. Whereas with robots, AI or whatever, there is no admission of that truth. You get what I mean. I agree about the customer, but if I'm in the court with Sony over it, they're going to care. Again, you're right, but I think the other side has a point. And they're not, it's not that their point isn't invalid, it's that their point is unpopular. And it is not the resounding opinion of the general audience. So yeah. Whew, I thought I was getting pulled up. You are. You thought I didn't see you? I saw you. So you think that I'm selfish and I have a self-centered worldview. I think that most people have what I refer to, and I think it's not what I refer, I didn't invent this. I think that other people have referred to this as well. They have a self-referential worldview. So everything in their life and their values and opinions and everything that they think is referring back to their own beliefs and their own life. So if things are not beneficial for them, then that doesn't matter. They don't care about it. If it is, then they do care about it. And so everything in their life and all of their opinions and actions are self-referential because they're not referencing a principle. They're not referencing an ideal. They are referencing what they want to do. You're a nihilist? I think that's a self-centered, meaning very libertarian compared to a lot of people I know and interact with. I'm not interested in people trying to pinpoint down my viewpoint on things. My viewpoint is not relevant. The truth is what's relevant. And that's what I think people don't understand. And what I like to do is I like to show examples of that truth. Other people like to talk about how the world should be and how they act and how their friends act. Well, that's nice, but nobody cares. It doesn't really matter because, again, that's, again, self-referential. It's important to think beyond that and to look at what are you doing, what is the world doing, not what are you doing. And so we're talking about hypotheticals. I don't like talking about hypotheticals. I like talking about reality. I wouldn't say nobody, though. There's never a nobody. There's never an everybody. But I think that it is a vast minority of people that truly care about these things. And I don't think that it is in any way, shape, or form a majority, and I don't even think that it's remotely close. I think that less than 5% of people care about it. Do you believe in trying to curb the tide? Only if I think I can. Which you can't. So, people are concerned with how products buy and consume are made. That's why things like organic food are taking off in recent years. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to address your... Oh, this is the same guy. Okay, great. I didn't see that. But more and more people are concerned with how the products they buy are consumed or made. Why? Because the reason why people want organic food, it's because it's organic. It's because it's created in a way that they feel is more healthy. It's a higher quality product. They're not buying organic food because they have some like moral feeling about it. Some people are, but the majority of people are buying it because it's a better and higher quality product. So I don't think you can use that. It's more healthy. It has less preservatives. It has these different reasons. It tastes better, yes. So I don't think I don't think that's an example. I'll read the rest of it. Organic food to go actually being beneficial to the end customer. Yes, I believe that the end customer believes that it's beneficial. The end customer, if you were going to ask 100 people of why they buy organic food, and you ask them the question, do you think that the food that you buy that is organic is either healthier and or tastes better than the food that is non-organic? I bet you would get 100 people saying that they think it is. Because they think that it's healthier, and doesn't, I'm not sure. They could also think that it tastes better. That's the reason why they buy organic food. Many organic buy it because it makes them feel like they're doing a good thing. I'm sure those people exist, but I don't think that they are the majority. I think that I think it's, again, a 5%. Because you're right, but I don't think that's the majority. Can I ask you guys, can we do a poll, maybe? Yeah, sure, we can do a poll. Okay. And this doesn't matter, right? This is just a temperature check. Like, what does this really mean? Why do you buy organic food? Because it tastes better. Because it's healthier. And both of the above. Because it's created maybe because of ethical reasons. Yeah, I'm not sure how to word this question in a way that's not leading. It's raised to grown to support grown humanly, less carbon footprint, that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know how to... I don't know how to do this. Organic is way more expensive. Well, can I just, I guess... Why do you guys buy organic food if you buy organic food? Let's just read chat. It's a bad example. Yeah. It's healthier. So go ahead and we're just going to pause here, right? Health. Taste. The better ones. Poll was good, better for health. There's one person here that says ethical. I think the vast majority of people are saying they're buying it because they think it tastes better or they think it's healthier. And it's not about, guys, it's not about whether it is or not. Because again, I want to go back to my original point that the perception is what matters. The perception is what creates value, not the actual product. That's why people buy Supreme. Or for example, okay, so this is another one. Cultural difference. I'm from Quebec. Yeah, I don't know what they do. More people now care about products made locally or within their country. I feel like people generally buy feel-good labeled things, organic, made locally, ethically sourced, fair trade, etc., because they think they're making a difference. My entire point is that I think in recent years, more people seem to care about how things are made or where they're from. I think that I think that you can be right. Let's assume that you're right. I think that you're right in one context. I think that you're right in the context that the alternative is the same. So, like, you're buying the same product, but this one is more ethically made. Why would you want to buy an unethical product if you could just simply buy an ethical product instead? So, really, the difference is that people are not willing to spend money, or they are not willing to consume an inferior product in the pursuit of this. Because I agree with you. I think that this is true. People would prefer to do something ethical, but most people don't actually want to have that cost them anything. The moment that it costs them anything to do something ethical, then it stops happening. You're biased in this discussion because you're slipping on bazooka-sized Coca-Cola instead of real food. What? I don't understand. I don't understand that. Yeah, okay. Organic isn't healthier, though. I can't. Doesn't matter whether you think that it's healthier or not. I just asked chat, and most people think that it is. Perception becomes reality in the eyes of a consumer. That's my point. I think this guy, again, I think that people will do something ethical if it's free. They'll like a tweet, they'll change their flag, they'll change their profile picture to a flag. But that's about it. That's my perspective. Save? No, the person's not. It's fine. And so let's read the rest of these. And so this is another guy. He's a games reporter from Washington Post. I'm going to go ahead and read his post. I get what he's trying to say, but it just illustrates that some people prioritize video games as a product and not human expression. I know he doesn't think that they're artistic or meaningful, but it's clear, at least in this context, all that matters is product and its function. Well, it depends on the person. Because for some people, they might view AI art and something that was created through AI as a form of human expression in the same way that photography is a form of human expression, even though you're using a camera to create the image. So I don't necessarily think that you can just... I don't think you can define this and just say, like, nobody else can see it this way. Because I think, again, anybody can see it however way they choose to. I don't play games to see art. I do it to have fun. Well, it depends on what people want to do. Some people see them as art. Some people don't. But at the end of the day, I know he doesn't think they're artistic or meaningful. Well, I think that there are some games that are. And I appreciate those games. But if I found out that, like, a game that I thought was very artistic or meaningful was created with AI, that would not have... Like, if I find out, like, some robot made this, I would not immediately dislike that game. I still would have gotten the same thing out of the game that I did before I knew that. Photoshop can make cameras more artistic too? Yeah, true. And so, as an artist, he's 100% correct. The part people don't want to admit is that if an incredibly artistic game has to go up against a game made with assets, but the deciding factor is that the asset game is more fun, the market will do the talking. I feel that frustration too. Exactly. It's just an extremely cynical way to put it, but I get where he's coming from. Yep, there it is. His take is bad, and he should feel bad. It's technically not wrong. No. Oh, no. It's sad. It's his feelings, yeah. He did the tweet hurt his feelings. That's why the artist should not fight against AI based on morality. Calling Power Word AI will only inspire those folks to double down and figure it out. Yeah, I don't know about that. Another thing to consider with streaming is he talks for hours and hours every day. Wording something wrong or saying something that doesn't 100% reflect your views happens all the time. Yeah, it does, but, I mean, if I'm saying it, clips really hurting my brain, like essentially he's explaining the unfortunate reality of capitalism, but also we should support artists. I don't know, really brutal wording. Yeah, he can be an asshole, so sometimes he will sound like one. This guy knows me, huh? Yeah, there it is. True. And so, yeah, why should we support artists? Well, if you like what they're doing, you should try to support them. And if you don't support them, then that's fine, but you shouldn't expect them to keep doing what they're doing. Doesn't that make sense? So this is also a post I watched, or I read a little bit. I want to go over, like, I'm almost about halfway done with these. I encountered this issue. This is a response from a person who was, I guess, like a guy with Opera. I encountered this issue a lot whenever it came to outreach of Opera and getting a wider audiences to be curious about Opera. Most don't care. It's true. What he says is right. Most consumers do not care about artistry. They don't care about the deeper meaning for why something is made. Does it run? Does it play well? Is it fun? That's what matters the most. So the discussion between AI and artists, frankly, isn't something that most people care about, not only because it doesn't affect them, but because they simply aren't aware. They don't know why a painting takes weeks. They do see an individual brushstrokes of the Monet or the way the Pieta was carved. What they care about is the result. Is this bad? Does this matter? Maybe, maybe not. But artists in a different category. Artists are in a different category. Artists are in the work of expressions. And I also think that Monet was an impressionist, right? Like, he's the one that did the water lilies after, I think, World War I or II. And a lot of people, he was like one of the big guys, right, for that? Well, people criticized him too. People were shitting on him as well. He's a big guy. Yeah, he was. Like, you'd recognize a lot of his paintings. As I said, my mom was very into art. She educated me in a lot of these things myself. They copied them. Yes, they did. Towards the end of his life, he was actually blind. Almost blind. That's why he had to wear special glasses. And, he's still able to make a lot of the art that at least people see now. And so, yeah, there it is. Legendary artist from France. Yeah. He had like I think he had like a personal relationship with the prime minister at the time. And he offered to paint the lilies as a commemoration of the end of the World War. And so, yeah, no, I know what he's talking about. And, even in his time, he had the same criticism on him. The same thing. And so, this inherently stems from lack of education or limited education in any sense. I actually don't think that's the case. I think that everybody knows that clothes are made from, like, a lot of the produce that we consume is produced by workers that are working in conditions that, if this was American workers that were American citizens, this would not be acceptable. How many of you guys know that? Everybody knows that. I mean, are people not buying produce because of that? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Let's talk about mining ore. Yeah, but mining ore is like, it's a newer one. I think that the produce is better. Unless you're extremely poor, in my case, and you don't have rights to certain areas, fighting you have money, you don't have anyone to represent you. Yeah, sure. Most of that, they just want to pretend. Yeah, exactly. Nike's terrible for child labor, still going to buy those kicks. Exactly. And there it is. Because money's everything, dude. That's all that matters to the piggy banks. Well, it's also not just money. If, for example, the produce that was made by Americans was worse and it tasted worse, people wouldn't buy it. They'd buy the ones that was made by third or second world slaves. Or workers that are getting paid $2 an hour. So, yeah, no, it's not just money. It's money and quality. Let's keep going here. But no, I don't think that it's education. Because I think that people know these things and they choose to ignore them because they want the thing that they like more. I actually think it's that simple. Some people see a flower and they say, oh, a flower. Somebody else sees a flower and says, oh, wow, look, a bee is floating around it. It's giving light to the flower and a flower in it. Yeah, and other people say, oh, wow, look at that bee. Let's kill the bee. It's near the flower and it might sting me. Yeah, of course. I don't know if it stems from nature or nurture, people born more sensitive or with the desire to create. I mean, I think it, that it's both. In his Studio Ghibli movie, Spirited Away, no face represents many things. But to me, he's always represented consumption, more and more and more. Feed me, and that's the danger of being purely a consumer. One becomes an empty shell, one with purpose. I disagree with this. The danger of being purely a consumer. I think this guy brings up a great point, but I don't think that a person who lives a very stressful and difficult life is at danger of being a consumer. This is a person whose life has multiple many facets to it, and ethically consuming bananas is not one of them. That's just simply all there is to it. Good. All right. So what's this? So, conversation is done with pseudo intellectual debate. What do you not like about what's being said? It's just about loving consumer culture and serving the economy. Nothing to do with expressionism or impressionism. No, it doesn't, but I think he was just using an example. Women need to be held more accountable. True. So I can't believe these hoes are they're just out on the internet, just walking free, man. Can you believe that? What is this? Extreme from my phone. Yeah, there you go. Not Shaban and watch Shaban? Yeah, I'm just curious what this is. No matter what, debates like this can go on forever and ever. Neither side is right or wrong. Well, one side certainly does have the argument of this is what it sure seems like people are doing, though, don't they? That's all I'm trying to say. This sure seems like people sure seem to be doing this one thing a whole lot. Yeah, I don't think that's it. The guy just is actually making a pseudo-intellectual condescending argument about people that don't agree with the skewed view on consumerism and why people don't agree with them. One becomes an empty shell, one with purpose. I don't think that people's purpose is or is not about consumerism. People can have a purpose that is completely devoid of how they process or produce or consume any product. That would be the world we live in, what we're headed to, but it's always be artists. And I think, like, really this guy's point is really the first paragraph, right? Is he's saying that, like, as much as we want people to care about opera, people don't care about opera. And that's all there is to it. Let's see the rest of these. And so I'll read this one. Let's see, there's that. This is just the original post. Okay, yeah, so this is a guy. He's worked on, I guess, Rust and some other games. And so we'll listen to what he has to say. I responded a couple of times to things that he said. And then after that, we'll go ahead and we'll look at some other random posts. All the games you love and play, like Warcraft, are handcrafted by insanely talented people that often go unnoticed, but the wider world. You spat on their talent, hard work, and assumed their irrelevance. Even though it's these artists who craft the world that you and your viewers get lost in, worlds that AI could not conjure up by itself. True. The thing is, what you said is somewhat ironic. The people buying the product often judge it based on how it looks. Opinions aren't irrelevant. Our opinion, experiences, and lives and influence, and lives often influence the worlds you enjoy. That's right. That's very true. And so, and I responded back to this, and I said this, right? I've said you're absolutely right, but the value of those things exists because people like me say it does. The reason why World of Warcraft is massively successful is not because artists made it. It's because people bought it. They would have never made the Burning Crusade if people didn't buy the game. That's the truth. Is that the customer drives the production, and the customer creates the value. The artist is there to put something out there, but it's up to the customer to decide whether it's worth buying or worth looking at or not. It's a buyer's market. What you just said is dumb as fuck. What about it is dumb? What about it? How's it wrong? People buying it has nothing to do with the artistry behind it. The artist's opinion of how hard they worked on it, or what they believe is or is not art, is not relevant to the end consumer. The end consumer cares about the function that that art serves in relation to their life. I think a lot of the artists on Twitter get mad because they don't like the idea that their hard work isn't important to the people playing. Does it work? Is it fun? Yes, then they'll care, if not before. It does matter, but it matters because people like it. If people didn't like it, then it wouldn't matter. It's like a primal in Final Fantasy. The reason why the primals are powerful, or a devil in Chainsaw Man, the reason why the gun devil is so powerful is because all of the people are afraid of him. If nobody was afraid of him, he wouldn't exist. Speaking my language? Yeah, there you go. You probably should go back to what you said. What did I say? I just can't wait till people make AI to take jobs away from content creators, then we'll never hear the end of how bad AI is for everyone. I'll address this person after this. No, I'll deal with that after this. It's fine. AI will replace content creators too, thank God. Yeah, tips, true. Less controversies, less problems. less situations, true. Less spicy tweets. Stalling? No, I'll respond back to one comment, and then I'll move on to the next person. It's not going anywhere. Okay. All right. I just can't wait to make people AI to take jobs away from content creators, so we'll never hear about how bad AI is for everyone. Are you familiar with the Vidal and Neurosama? Yeah, are you familiar with them? I'm just going to preface by saying that I understand that AI as a tool is useful and can be utilized by artists to create better art. But to equate art as value for just being a product is like the argument that people made a while ago about games as a product versus a service. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you mean by that, but I'll go ahead and I'll talk about this. So art fundamentally is subjectively valued. Why is it that the Mona Lisa is worth so much money? There's not really a way that you can discern how much money this painting is worth without looking at its subjective value. And that's the same with any painting or any type of art. That's the beauty of art, is that it serves no intrinsic purpose, but the subjective value that it has in the hearts and minds of people is substantial, if it's good, right? If people like it. But what I'm saying is that just because you perceive a value in something doesn't mean that it has intrinsic value in a market. Like, for example, how many of you guys have things that have sentimental value, but nobody would buy them? Everybody does. You have pictures that you made whenever you were a kid or something like that. And, you know, like some fucking thing that you had whenever you were growing up. And, like, this to you is worth a lot, but to anybody else, it's not worth anything. So I think that we all have, like, it's such a personal example that we all know that this is the case. We all know that this is true. Sorry, Streamlined, what was said? So basically there's a streamer called Vidal and Neurosama. Are you familiar with Vidal and Neurosama on Twitch? This person responded again in chat. Let me read it. That's the point I'm making, that it's priceless. It's about taking jobs away from people in the industry, though. If what you said about robots taking over the future is true, should artists just pack it in? No more jobs. Do people still get portraits done, even though we have cameras? Do people still buy OnlyFans, even though you can Google big boob? Do people still like handmade clothes, even though you can get it printed from a fucking third world sweatshop? Yes. The market has changed, though. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. So basically, Neurosama is a completely AI-generated VTuber that was created by a guy named Vidal. And Neurosama has actually become so popular that it was the top female streamer, which is actually a guy, which is, you know, like, you know, guys, you know, men, we just can't stop winning. And it was actually the most popular streamer for like a week or a month recently, beating out all of the other real girls or real fake girls that are VTubers. All of them were beat out by Neurosama. So I think that you have an example of that being the case. So, like, what you're talking about is, like, if AI takes away a job from a content creator, what do you think that my position is on that? Come on, dude, let's be real. I'm just saying, like, it's pretty fucking defeating as a guy about to get a degree in art that AI art is coming out and potentially taking away job offers that could be offered to me. Like, should I just switch careers? No. You should embrace it completely, and you should look at how to use it to augment your skills. You have the perfect opportunity to use and leverage these skills with this new technology to get a better job than probably you could have gotten 10 years ago. I don't think that you should view it that way. I think that that's the defeatist mindset. Like, AI art is a tool. Figure out how to use the tool. Or do something different. I don't know. That's my perspective. So I mean, it's crazy. It's like hand wash clothes and piss off people are using washing machines. Yeah, it isn't complicated. Just adapt and overcome. Yeah, you have to. You have to adapt and you have to overcome. Like, you have to think about all the people that, you know, their job was shoveling coal into a furnace. All the people whose job was working on an assembly line. Their job was, let's think about some recent jobs that have been removed. Self-checkouts. Self-checkouts are huge. Like, most places have like 30 fucking checkout lines and 3 of them are open. Everywhere. And whenever I was a kid, 15 of them were open. Well, what happened to those 12 people? Well, one of them is working at the self-checkout area, and the other 11 aren't working at the store anymore. So there's definitely that. Candle makers. Yeah, candle makers and light bulbs. Well, I'm trying to think about examples that are contemporary that we all understand. Gas pump operators? Yeah, that's a decent one. Travel agents. That's a really great example. The taxi industry has totally changed with Uber. Film cameras, yeah. Telephone operators, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of these maps. Yeah, the people that make maps. That's a great fucking example. Yes, exactly. Not totally disagreeing with what you're saying. It's like, what the fuck do I do? And that's what it is. Proud to be a future homeless Lamel. Also, chat, yeah, I know art degree is goofy, but for real, like, yeah, I get to use it as tools and you have some art to be able to process even then. But dude, it's just defeating. It is. I understand that it sucks, right? Like, I don't think anybody's saying that it doesn't suck. Nobody's saying that you are wrong for not liking this. All I'm saying is that it's happening and it's real and there's nothing you can do about it. So you either acknowledge it or you live in a fake reality. That's my point. And also, I don't shit on anybody with an art degree. I totally support people getting a philosophy degree or getting an art degree because the purpose for college is to further the human body of knowledge. And that should be possible by anything, possible to do with anything, like whether it's philosophy, STEM, or art. I think this is great. I'm a huge advocate for this. So no, I'm not going to shit on you for getting an art degree. Now, obviously, like, you know, I wouldn't be like, oh, your art degree. It's like, oh, let's hear about, like, you know, how AI works specifically, right? Unless you have, like, experience in it. But that's not what you're saying. It's just useless. I don't support it. Well, you don't need to support it, and it is useless, but because other people support it, then it's useful. Because the value comes from other people and not from the person who's making it. It's a symbiotic relationship. Anyway, yeah, I get this guy's point. I see what he's saying. Bro, I get it, man. He made one more comment in chat. If AI art can replace Boris Vigeo's or Chris Foss's art style, what the fuck is the point of learning about principles of design, elements of art? Like, I don't know, man. It depends on how you use it. Like, I think that if you understand things like that, you can perfect tools to make those tools more precise and more appealing. You have to know a lot about art to prompt effectively. Yeah, I mean, sure. I think there's probably examples of that too. And so anyway, this guy responded again, and I'll go ahead and I'll read the rest of this, and I want to move on to some other ones. This doesn't negate the opinions of those who made it. This is like saying that OTK Network or your stream only has value because we, not you, enjoy it. You own OTK? Forget you, dude. Who cares what you think? People are just totally watching your streams for your gaming only and not your opinion and viewpoint on certain matters. You and I both know that's nonsense. It may be a good game, but it's not impressive. He's talking about Pal World. And I said, you're right again. If no one watched my stream, it would have no value. Who would sponsor a streamer who has no views? How much would ads make? And how could I get subscribers? Something's market value versus its personal value are two different things. That's true. And so this is the last point that he makes in a DM. Yeah, I'll probably have to respond to this DM. And perhaps it's difference in perspective here, what we value more. It sounds like you're a slave to your viewers and sponsors than my dude. Not a slave, but a servant. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But I know you stream because you love it and value it for yourself and you couldn't think of doing anything else. So I think you're missing my point. I make and share art because I value it. I make tutorials on how to make 3D art because I genuinely enjoy doing it. Even if I get minimal views, I don't care. Good. Then do it. That's fine. I develop Rust because I genuinely enjoy the art I make for it, and developers I have around me are like family. The opinion on developing a game matters to me. For me, if no one watched your stream, it doesn't mean that it has no intrinsic value. I think that it does. And I actually think that the stream never had any intrinsic value. I think that the value for a stream was always subjective. And something having subjective value doesn't make it inferior or worse, but it does make it different and not the same as something that has intrinsic value. Unless you're framing it through the lens of money, then that's a shame. Yes, and I want to actually refer back to this and talk about this again. The reason why I said a lot of these things, I was talking about this in the context of going to market with a video game. I wasn't talking about art as a whole. I wasn't talking about how an individual perceives art. How could I possibly tell somebody what has value to them? That's insane. I'm talking explicitly, and you'd know this if you saw more than a minute and a half of the clip, that I'm talking about why people buy or don't buy a game. I'm talking about how consumers value games, how consumers consume content, what values those people have. It doesn't really have a lot to do with how it was made. I'll be honest, the guy seems like a dick. To be honest, like, this might sound like, again, an ego thing or everything, something like that, but I know that I'm right so much that it doesn't even bother me whenever people get mad. I view them as just people that are unwilling or unable to see the truth. I'm not mad at any of these comments. Obviously I've talked about it for a long time. I clearly care about them, but this isn't something that's going to make me unhappy or compromise me emotionally, if that makes sense. So yeah, and I do wish more people agreed with me. I want people to agree with me. But I'm not going to change what I say, so I'm saying the same thing they will, and they agree with me. It ascended? Well, I mean, for now, right? I'm sure something will make me mad later on. And it doesn't sound like a dick to me. It sounds like he's passionate about what he is. Yeah, sure. Artists need to gatekeep non-artists from being able to use a tool that lets them create art to protect their own market value. Yeah, I remember whenever priests thought the same thing about the Bible, and that's why they didn't want people to learn how to read. The printing press really fucked that over for them. That was a bad time. Why do you want people to agree? Well, because I think that what I think is true, and I want people to live in reality. I think that's a good thing. I think that it's healthy for everybody. What you're wrong about is how you said the game made doesn't matter, but it does. It may not matter to you or a bunch of people, but it sure does to a lot of other people who are different. It doesn't matter in a functional sense in terms that it will create an effect on the video game. So whenever you say it doesn't matter, whenever I say it doesn't matter, what I'm really saying is that it doesn't matter in the context of it's selling well or not selling well. Of course, it matters to you, but it doesn't matter in the sense of it selling well in the market. Does that make sense? The artists don't really respect themselves. They think they're easily replaceable by hard-to-guide AI art. I don't think they are. Well, most artists probably don't fundamentally understand the nuances behind AI art. And so, I mean, and why would they? They're artists. They're not data scientists. They're not programmers. So they just see it and they're like, well, what the fuck do you? No, I don't. I just see the outcome. And I think that also people are very afraid of uncertainty. If people knew they were going to be losing their jobs, I think they would actually be more at peace with it than the uncertainty of what it is right now. You're totally misunderstanding the basic foundation of the entire argument against AI outwork. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and I'll read your comment in a minute. But let me go ahead and move that over here. A bunch of sales can be driven because of a notable artist that worked in a certain product. I was definitely the case for me in a bunch of games that I said to buy. And why is that artist notable? And you will see that your reasoning will come back around to the fact that that artist creates value that resonates with people such as yourself. Because people like their work. Exactly. The chicken and the egg? Yes, it's a symbiotic relationship. A big part of game sales like Doom Eternal, for example, were driven because of Mick Gordon, the composer that worked on it. And why did people buy it because of Mick Gordon? Why did that happen? Marty O'Donnell is another one. Made the Halo music for many years. It's consumer value. Yes. Because they love his work. So you're saying that people buy it because they perceive value? Is that what you're saying? No, no, no. I don't really understand what you mean with perceived value. Okay. The perceived value is that people think that his art is good. And the reason why people think that his art is good is why his art is selling. That's why. Is that this is a decision that's made by the customer. His art's worth it. Yes, exactly. And I would argue that if there was an AI tool that is equivalent in creating music or creating some form of gameplay that people viewed on the same level as Mick Gordon, people would buy the game for that reason as well. And I can use a soft example for that with Unreal 5. I feel like people hear that a game is made in Unreal 5 and they're like, oh my god, it's going to be so good. And I think that people's behavior from that is an example for what I'm trying to say. Use a harder example, please. I think that's the best example I can do. I'd have to think about more of it. Procedural generation was like that buzzword for a while. Not really. Even if people didn't buy it, his music would still be good. If a tree falls in the forest, did it make a sound? To you. And there's also a lot of people that, like, I guarantee you, if you go if you go to a church, you go to a fucking Christian revival and you start playing Mick Gordon's Doom soundtrack, bro, you're gonna have some holy water thrown on you. Yeah, like, you're about to get an exorcism. What are you doing? George R.R. Martin helped the story in Elden Ring, a good example of perceived value. Exactly. And so anyway, let's go back. Oh yeah, I was gonna look at one more. Okay, this person was timed out. Totally misunderstanding the basic foundation of the entire argument against AI outwork and the moral objection to it. It is not simply a tool like a pencil, pen, or camera. There's one gigantic difference. Okay, what is it? Imagine you want to be a sculptor. So you go to a successful sculptor's house and you make molds of all their sculptures without their permission. Then you use those molds to make minor modifications to them and then create new art pieces. This is literally what AI software is. Well, isn't this what people would do? Is they would see sculptures and then they would make theirs like the ones that they saw? I feel like that's what people do. A warehouse full of molds of other people's work created without their permission. I don't think that somebody has full permission on how something is consumed once they release it to the public. Once you release your expression into the public, a part of that ownership is no longer yours. You no longer have full autonomy and control of how people will respond to that. And I'll give you an example. Today, with me, Everybody's mad at me because I express myself in a certain way, and then those people are talking about it. That's what happens whenever you express and you put something out into the public. AR does not store other people's work, stable diffusion. It can't even contain everyone's data in pure form. Sure. Then you use those models to make minor modifications. Okay, if a company trains a model from scratch with no base layer like stable diffusion and they have consent from the contributors, there would not be an uproar. This is why people are mad. The artists are being molded and copied without consent or compensation. Okay, I don't find it to be a moral difference whenever an AI tool does it than whenever a person copies it or traces it. I don't view that to be a tremendous moral difference. Can you explain to me why you think that it is? Is that simply a tool? It's a mold of somebody else's work? Well, I think that, no, but you did literally say that it is simply a tool by using an example of the way that would be used as a tool. So, of course, that's the case. Copying and duplicating a style and literally having a mold of that sculpture. Well, it's... But, like, let's talk about this, like, functionally, though, right? So, let's say you're talking, like, sculptures, this is going to be very... I think your sculpture argument is, like, there's a lot more, like, complication to it. Like, we could get into that, but can we just do pictures instead? People are looking at a picture of the picture that they're taking inspiration from. They're looking at the picture, and then they're creating their art. Right? They're using it as a reference. The picture is the picture, yes. So I don't see a big moral difference. I don't. There's almost no difference. The morality isn't the issue. I think that is the issue, though. Did you see somebody lied about Power World copying renders from Pokemon? No, I didn't see that. I'm going to look at that in a bit. We're wrapping this up, by the way. I know a lot of people, like, this has been a big drama thing today, and so I kind of wanted to cover it and go through everything. I guess I can't really argue that. Well, fuck, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, how is nobody thinking this? I don't know. I mean, like, damn. I took 2 hours of the stream. Yeah, sure. Help me explain why AI art generation is not the same as using... I could explain why AI art generation is not the same as using algorithmic tools. No, it's that is it morally different than somebody, like, using somebody else's style through inspiration? Then it plays it's both picture and a sculpture. The guy's saying a mold. Well, yeah, no, but like a mold is... there is more complication because it's a 3D thing and you're going to see it in 3D, and, you know, it's not really the same thing. You can touch it. Like, that's why I didn't want to use that. And so, yeah, no, I think that I understand. I think I do really understand it. And if I don't, then, you know, why? But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I guess I can kind of wrap this up and talk about it. I think that we've looked at pretty much all of these posts here. Yeah, we have. And so anyway, I'll go back, and I think this encapsulates the Power World discourse. Don't ask questions and consume product, then get excited for next product. This is what people are criticizing because they're saying that I am advocating for this behavior. I am not advocating for this behavior. I am acknowledging that it is the norm. This is the norm, and you will never change that. You are never going to get people to care about why a game is the way that it is. This is not people's fight. They don't care about that. These are average people with extremely complex lives who have a finite amount of energy to devote to different things. And big surprise, they're not going to be devoting it to getting mad about a fucking video game being stealing pictures, right? Because like I think that we can all agree that caring about kids working in cobalt mines or lithium mines is like a million times worse than somebody stealing a picture. Like this is like infinitely worse. But nobody cares about the lithium mines, and so I'm not going to hear about the pictures. That's the way I feel about it. So yes, of course, people who has time to ask questions about every product that they consume. Where does he think that shirt was made? I'm sure all of these things were made ethically as well, right? Come on, what is this? Like, why are we living in this world of these people that think that because they have a lot of free time to fixate on things on the internet, that normal people that have average lives are somehow inferior because they do something else with their time instead of that? It's such a ridiculous thing and so patronizing and obnoxious. So yeah, that's what I think. And so there it is. And this is how you're a shitty person if you feel this way. They're also, and this will be the last thing I'll talk about, then I'll kind of wrap everything up. You are a shitty person if you feel this way. No, you're not. You are not a shitty person if you don't want to thoroughly investigate and draw the line, the moral line, at the exact same place that some random other idiot thinks that you should draw it at. Like, I'm sorry, but I just really, I don't see... I don't see these people having any moral authority. They don't. You live in reality. Yeah, exactly. What they mean is you're a shitty person to me. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. And they can have an opinion all they want. But, oh yeah, no, I know that there's a lot of people who are upset about this. And, the only real argument against AI in terms of ethics, currency, energy structure is not for par what's coming with wave of AI. Oh, energy? Yeah, I don't know about that. People forget that morals are entirely subjective. Sure. It's a bit disingenuous to overrepresent how much of a choice people have in their day-to-day lives. Like, you don't support slavery? I guess you can't use a mobile phone or live in this society. I completely disagree with this point of view. So I know that people use this, but I do completely disagree with this. And the reason why I disagree with this is because these are people who cannot even uphold these standards for their own level of, for their own entertainment. And I'm going to give you an example. Read this person's thing. Black multimedia artist, voice actor, he, they, and this is clearly a person who cares about LGBT issues and Black Lives Matter and all that. What do you think that their opinion on Elon Musk is? I bet they think he's a terrible fucking person. A lot of people think Elon Musk is transphobic. A lot of people think he's an asshole. So this person is on a platform building the brand and continuing to make billions of dollars for a person who I think that they would assume is actively at war against certain identities that they either sympathize with or are part of. So whenever this person can't even stop their own entertainment and, you can't even avoid using a social media platform, no, I'm not going to respect your opinion on telling me what video games to play. No. No, I'm not. No. That's insane. Absolutely not. No way. There's always a choice. Number one, there is. But number two, there is with this. Make a valid point. Yes. And so... And that's the thing is, so yes, the whole argument's pointless. Well, this is just what my opinion is. Yeah, art will ruin games like microtransactions. Well, I think that some games will, but not every game has microtransactions. So much hypocrisy. Environmentalists who wear Patagonia jackets or buy EVs with batteries made in China. Yes, and this is really the truth, right? And so I understand what you're saying. You're saying that somebody needs a cell phone in order to exist in society. My argument would be that if there were cell phones that were made completely ethically and they cost twice as much money, nobody would buy them. I don't think that this person would save up their money and buy the, ethically sourced cell phone. I think that they would buy the cheap one, just like they always have, because they don't want to spend the extra money. Because it's always very easy to criticize and, shit on people for doing something because they want to, but whenever you are held to the same standard, somehow it's always different. No, it's not. It's really not. These are people whose lives do not revolve around the ethics of AI, in the same way this person's life doesn't revolve around the ethics of Elon Musk. We all pick and choose our battles. We don't care about these things. Many people don't. And there are all things that we participate in that we're hypocritical about. And the problem isn't that people are being hypocritical. It's that people want other people to carry their flag whenever they won't do it themselves. They won't even carry their own flag. They want you to pick up their flag and run with it whenever they won't even do it themselves. And I'm not talking about moving out and being like the Unabomber and living outside of electricity. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just not consuming entertainment content that you find to be harmful. Like, how much do you want to bet that this person probably thinks Amazon is bad? And how much do you want to bet that this person probably has Amazon Prime? I'm sick of this. This is outrageous. No, this is crazy. Like, I'm not talking about, somebody, not being able to, you think the US is bad, go move somewhere else. I'm not talking about moving countries. I'm talking about the way that you consume entertainment. That's it. The way you consume entertainment, these people cannot even regulate the way that they consume entertainment, but they expect you to, and they're going to tell you that you're a bad person whenever you don't. They can't. You're building a straw man out of that guy. You're right. You're right. I could be totally wrong. He could love Elon Musk, and he could think Amazon is the greatest country of all time. You're absolutely right. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Wayne's asylum's bad for these people. Well, I don't think these people, that's not an asylum person, but it's just a person, it's the best country. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's worth more than most countries. But, company. Yeah. And so anyway, a lot of people are upset about what I said about this tweet. And so I talked about this for 2 hours, something like that. I think that we've pretty much done this enough. I want to reiterate my original point, and then we're going to move on. I am completely right. And the reality is that I will prove myself right every single day, forever. And these people will keep coping and, having their little support groups on Twitter because reality is mean. I didn't make it this way. They didn't make it this way. It is this way. It's not my fault. I'm not telling you that it's good. In some ways it is, in other ways it's not. Getting mad at me for saying something that's obviously true is provably true, and it will continue to provably be true. This isn't going to do anything. If you want to get mad at me, go ahead. That's fine. That's fine. But don't shoot the messenger. That's what my opinion is. There's an argument AI art. There's an argument to AI art that you can't refute as to why it shouldn't be in games. No, this is gonna be something fucking. Nah, this is gonna be some bull. I know this is gonna be something really fucking stupid. I guarantee you, this is gonna be something so fucking stupid. What is this? Spammer? Yeah, he was even doing it yesterday. Oh, no, he wasn't. It was just from the next day. Come on. This will be good. If the idea is the idea that AI is the only thing making games in the future as it happens more, nobody said that. Nobody assumed that. There's less training of data for it to iterate off of and the quality of diminishing returns. Nobody ever said that. You're basing it off of something nobody ever said. You really waited 2 hours for that. Anyway, so can't refute. Yeah, I can't refute. Well, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. AI can train on its own data. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, yeah, I want to say that obviously there have been 22 million people that have seen this in the last 24 hours. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer than that. And they're all very mad. And I want to say that I'm not sorry. I'm completely right. And after everybody has their emotional outburst about it, the following conversations will not be debating about how bad of a person I am. It will be in debating the truth of what I said. Because it is inevitable, it is provable, and it's observable. And no amount of angry tweets or crying or coping is ever going to change that. I'm not in the business of talking about how the world should be. And if I am, there are a lot of other things that should change. Which, number one, is kids shouldn't be on social media, which would have reduced about half of these posts in the first place. That being said, I just want to know what's going to happen. I like being able to predict the future as best I can. And that's why I try to live in reality. And I would suggest many of the other Twitter users to begin to do the same thing. The values, the things that are important, the things that people hold, that think hold weight on Twitter mean nothing. These values don't mean anything to anybody outside of a perpetually and terminally online group of mostly freaks. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of furries here, okay? Fired so many people. Yep, there it is. I'll read some more comments and then we're going to move on. Personal attacks from people don't have an anti-argument. Oh, yeah. And also, by the way, there's a lot of people that were making fun of my room, the fact that I had a dead rat for an alarm clock, the fact that I wiped blood on the walls, the fact that most of my teeth have fallen out. And I would just like to remind you that that person has a better grip on reality than you do. I don't know what that says. You can make fun of me all they want. Okay. It's whatever. If I didn't want people to know that or make fun of me for it, I wouldn't have said it. Michaela hates you. Why? Best take you ever here today. Stop listening to streamers, not just him, all of them. Stop giving information for them. She just thinks streamers are stupid. Like, I don't know what she thinks. Who cares? Why would I give a fuck? Like, really, like, I mean, why would I care? She hates everyone? Yeah, no, I mean, like, and I'm not trying to shit on her, right? I mean, I just don't care what she thinks. And it's not even, there's no substance to it. Like, if she had an argument and she was trying to make a point, then yeah, I'll read it or whatever, but I don't care. She hates white people? Oh. I don't know if she hates white people or not. Bro, she's just dating a white person? She's half white? I don't... Guys. I don't have any emotional energy to invest into giving a fuck about this. I'm sorry. I don't care what her opinion on this is. It's irrelevant to me. Oh, she's so stupid? I don't know if she's stupid or not. I don't need to... It doesn't... I don't think you understand. Whenever I say I don't care, that doesn't mean, like, I want to, like, sneak diss her to make her sound stupid. No, I literally just don't care. I should stand to go touch grass? Yeah, something like that. I'm just caring about every random dumbass's opinion on the internet. True. I'm just joking, bro. It's the same, just weird. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Oh, they're going to look like shit, and then everyone will change their tune, in my opinion. Well, again, the ego of these artists, holy. The guy claiming artists are the ones that designed your headphones, not engineers. No, artists absolutely did design my headphones, and I like a lot of people's art. But the reason why those artists are empowered is because of the fact that people like their art. And that's why, the reason why that artist, you know, that made these headphones is getting paid is because Sennheiser was like, hey, this guy really knows what he's doing. We're going to pay him for this. It's because other people made the decision. Comment says tweets are funny. Yeah. It matters about how good your art is until somebody else likes it. Yeah. Guarantee you that the engineers are the reason they have jobs, though. I don't want to argue about that. It doesn't matter to me. The latest debate of traditionalism versus modernism. AI will continue to be used as long as it continues to improve and ease our quality of life. Yeah, I agree with that. You still wearing your watch? You'll be mad? Yeah, that's just how it is. And, yeah. And so, anyway, what you're saying is AI art can't replace good artists, it just replaces mediocre ones? No, I think AI art will be able to replace good artists as well. But I think that what decides what a good artist is the public. And if people don't want to buy it, then it's not good in the eyes of the public and in the market. I can't make a subjective judgment for you on a personal level. I'm talking about the market. And so anyway, that's that. And of course there's people on Twitter, 400 comments on Twitter. People purposely not engaging with what he actually said and instead making up a straw man. They said artists don't matter. Well, to be fair, like, they saw a clip without any context. So, like, the person that made the clip intentionally created it and cut it in a way that removed the context. So I'm not mad at them for that, because it's just and I'm not mad at even the person that cut the clip that way. Because, like, I've used bad clips of people before too. That's just what happens. Like, I try not to do it intentionally. I mean, fuck, right? But, like, I'm not really that mad. That's just how it is. I know people on Twitter only argue in good faith. Yeah, 100% right. If you're in the business of selling something, no one cares what you have to say. The consumer opinion is all that matters. True. True. Been a musician my whole life and know all kinds of artists. Maybe no surprise, but as a whole, a lot of them perceive their art as having a lot more value than it actually does. This is just like WoW players, man. WoW players, like, I feel like a lot of them, like, they think they're a lot better than they are. That's just, I've noticed this for many years. My opinion, not really at all. If there's something that has been said, it's the consumer who dictates the value. If consumers don't like it, even the artist said it's the best thing in the world, doesn't sell, nobody likes it, and it has no value. It definitely has value, just not market value. Yes, and that's what we were talking about. And I feel like Asmon's purpose is only stating a cold hard truth without taking any nuances, without talking about the nuances. Well, I mean, if I wasn't talking about the nuances, this wouldn't have been 2 hours, right? But I do, and I try to, again, like, I do want to say that a lot of times I'm not really a big fan of, I don't want to deal with people that constantly want to argue with me all the time. But I do actually try to genuinely put on an attempt to listen to other people's perspectives and points of view. And, like, that is something I generally try to do. Now, is it something that I always do? No, I do not always do this. But it is something that I generally try to do.